Mimosa.
And co-host Kareem.
Welcome to Sometimes We're Bougie and Sometimes We Hood. To healing, navigating grief. It's a podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembrance. Welcome in. Welcome to Sometimes We're Bougie.
Sometimes We're Hood.
A podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembrance. I'm your host, Auntie Mimosa.
And I'm Cousin Kareem. Man, got caught drinking.
And whether you're in the depths of grief, slowly learning to live with loss, or supporting someone in their journey or on their journey, this space is for you. Grief is deeply personal. There's no timeline, there's no rule book, and no right or wrong way to navigate it. But through shared experiences, honest conversation, and moments of reflection, we can find comfort, understanding, and hope. Each episode will dive into the emotions that come with loss, anger, sadness, guilt, and acceptance, and talk with experts, survivors, and those who have walked this path, who are not alone in your grief. And together we will move forward, honoring the past and embracing the present. So in this episode, we'll talk about why grief often brings a sense of responsibility. This is part two, and what parts we carry with compassion and how to put down the burdens that were never ours to begin with. So when loss happens, support can feel like a lifeline or something that's missing. We'll explore what real support looks like, how to ask for it, and how to offer it to others when someone we love transitions. So it is not just sadness we feel, it's questions, it's doubt, it's guilt, it's obligation, and a huge weight we sometimes put on ourselves, or even feel like a weight is lifted. So whether you're grieving, walking beside someone who is, or just trying to better understand how to show up, this episode is for you. So take a deep breath, find a quiet space, and let's begin this journey towards healing, one conversation at a time. Let's talk, let's heal, and let's remember together. So it's good, Cousin Kareem.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
How you doing, cousin?
All is well. So this is part two from where we left off, because we really hit some deep aspects of that conversation about grief and responsibility.
Yeah.
And we touched on the 7 stages of grief. And yes, 7. They have now added 2 more to that. So just to quickly reiterate, of course, the shock or disbelief is 1, 2, denial, 3, bargaining, 4, anger, 5, depression, 6 and 7. 6 is testing, and 7 is acceptance. So I like to say that number 6 is reinvention, like reinventing yourself or trying to figure out what direction to go in. And that's what we were talking about in the first part, about losing control and feeling powerless. And like I think we ended with naming your grief, like naming your feelings, what you're feeling in that moment, which is good. So what do you have to say about that, Cousin Kareem?
Naming your emotions or naming your feelings?
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think you gotta believe you do. You gotta come to an acceptance. I guess that was stage 7, I think it was, right? Mm-hmm. I think once you accept it, or even a little bit, you start to accept it. I believe that acceptance is not going to be an all in all, like one time, like bam, like I'm good now. Like I accept they're gone. It's just like no, it takes a little bit of time because, like we were saying earlier, last one podcast is that
Mm-hmm.
um, it comes back and around. There's no one time you're going to revisit one of the seven. You're going to revisit coming up
Mm-hmm.
every once in a while, and so trying to put a name or just put something solid and competent on your emotions, I believe it's easier. It's
Right.
easier to compensate for the loss, and you can systematically at some point in time move on, um, or move forward, not move on, because move
Mm-hmm.
on kind of seems to be stuck with that whole idea that you're going to forget that person.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a more so of this continuing. But
Right.
yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with that. It's and my light just died. My lights are over here dying. I gotta charge that one. Um, but yeah, I definitely believe that when you name, give your emotions a name, what you're feeling a name, that it definitely helps you identify and deal with it. So, when you're feeling angry, look in the mirror and say, okay, I see you.
Mm,
I feel the anger, and I accept, not necessarily accept, like I look in the mirror and say, I see the anger in you. It's okay to be angry. And know that that's what it is that day. So you're not taking it out on everyone around you. That's how I felt last week. I felt like that last week. And I said it. I said, I'm angry. I yeah, like I took the whole first part of the week. Like I did when I came back from North Carolina, I think I took off like Friday to Thursday. I went back to work Thursday. And honestly, I should have stayed home Thursday because I was very angry. I was angry Thursday, you know. And I kind of did take it out on a couple of my clients with that feeling, you know what I'm saying? Because it was the day after the recognition of Jesus, tragic transition, tragic loss, our tragic loss. Welcome in everyone, welcome in, thank you. So I was angry. I was still feeling I was angry because my son, he wasn't here. It's been 4 years, he's not here. And not only was I angry at that, but I have a tendency that I will reflect sometimes back on not just with his tragic transition, but not only do I look at that, but I also will take a look at where my life is currently. And I'll get pissed because I feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And
right.
sometimes I think that had he still been alive, I would have been further, I would be further, further along in my life than where I am, where I feel I am. But again, who's to say that? Maybe I would be, maybe I wouldn't be, you know? So yeah. So that's a good thing. I think people, yes, you should recognize your emotions. You should take a moment to acknowledge when you're hurt, when you're angry, when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling depressed. Now, that I believe is a difficult one to put a finger on,
Yeah.
depression, because a lot of people don't know what it looks like or what it's supposed to look like. Um and then you have individuals that are functional depressants, you know, outside at work all day, they have a smile on their face. You wouldn't know anything is wrong. And the minute they get home and get behind closed doors, they are in the bed with their covers over their head.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a. I'm glad you brought up that depression part because
Mhm.
depression is a thing that some people um
Welcome
They
in.
make excuses for it. They make excuses for it. They don't. They say it's like they think of it as a weakness, you
Mm,
know. But it's a part of your mind and your spirit that isn't able to cope for a
right.
particular amount of time.
Right.
And then once you acknowledge it and you can kind of find your coping mechanism,
Mm,
then you can alleviate it. You can move forward
right.
instead of regressing backwards. And 50 Cent, I saw one of his posts. He said, "We don't have the luxury to be depressed where we grew up at." And it's like I looked at that, I listened to it, and I was like, "There's some facts to that because when you're in a position like you were saying, you wish you were farther along. You look at it, you get upset about that. It's that where we come from. It's just one of the things that you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, yo, I don't want to be here. I want to be someplace else. I got dreams and thoughts.
Right.
And but the crazy part is I ran into somebody. I shouldn't say I ran into somebody. I was talking to somebody
Mm-hmm.
younger, and they were telling me they don't have dreams. And I was like, what? Like and then they asked me, like, how do you dream when you're at work? I'm like, I just do. I can't
Right.
concentrate on every it's not like I don't think there's any job, well, maybe I'm wrong. I'm gonna say
Mm-hmm.
there's any job that occupies your mind for completely the whole day hours,
Right.
where you're like focus, focus, focus. You get brain fatigue if that was the
Exactly.
case. So you gotta allow yourself to dream, but that's what separates, I think, people.
That's interesting that this individual did not have a dream, like they didn't want anything much bigger in life. To
Yeah,
have something much more bigger out of life than what they were doing right then and there. I think that is, I don't know what that is.
I don't know. That's what I
Um,
said. I don't know what that is because I you relate. When you're looking at somebody else and you're trying to understand them, be empathetic. I think
right.
that's what it is. When you're trying to be empathetic with somebody, and
Hmm.
then you don't, they don't fit into any category that you're developed for yourself. And we have categories we put ourselves in, and
Yes,
then
we do.
but then when you compare, you're not trying to compare, but you're trying to say, okay, if I was in that situation, that person's shoes, then I would be in this category. I'll be this category. But then when you get a situation like that where there's no category, you're like,
Mm,
I can't even begin to comprehend or be empathetic to a situation because I've never been there.
right.
Ever. I and it's just like, so then we go back to trying to deal with the depression.
Hmm.
It's like, how do you help somebody if they don't even know how to help themselves?
True. That
Because yeah, it's crazy because if you don't dream, then if your dream, for instance, that's how people get stuck with that. Well,
is.
I call it a silly statement. Maybe I apologize again to everybody out there, but you are a complete person. There's no
Right.
reason for you to be like, they complete me. Yeah. I mean, that's just me. That's just me.
Right.
Doing my Stephen A. impression. Like, I got a big forehead too.
You're a whole,
Mine is more
you're a
rounded. It's
whole
not my English.
person. You
Yeah,
are
exactly.
a whole person by yourself. The
Yeah.
other person, whoever they are, does not complete you. You
Right.
complete
Right.
yourself. You're a whole person.
Yep.
Yes.
My man Big Mark from the group home, he used to always say, he said about his wife, he said, yo, I'm a steak. He goes, I'm a steak. Like, you could eat a steak all day long, like all
Right.
week long. But then
Right.
when I met my wife,
Uh,
she was the marinade.
she was the
You know,
married.
like she made the marinade. Like a marinade is nothing without the steak. But I mean, you know what I mean? But I made her better. She made me better. It's like,
Right.
marinade is good on its own. That's why they sell them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like a steak
The
is good on its own. That's
marinade.
why they sell them. But
Yeah.
he was like, but when we got together, we just made each other that much better. And
I
I was
love
like,
it.
yo, I'm stealing that. So Mark, you watching? Yo, I stole it. Putting you out there, man. Putting you out there.
What
In
did he
your
say?
little
I'm
words of
the
wisdom.
steak, and he said he's the steak, and you are the marinade, and together.
Right.
I am like, we are the shit. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, but then you get people who, I guess, if you're not a dreamer, you
Right.
can't see yourself without this person.
Mm.
And then, going to the other thing we was about to
Dreamers.
talk about, it's like people are like, yo, I'm on the other life of myself. I can't live without this person. And it's like, hold up
Yeah.
for a second. Like, you were here before this person.
Right. Right.
You had a whole life before
Yeah.
this person. Unless you met this person at 2 and you
Mm.
knew you fell in love with them. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not
Right.
happening. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not
They
healthy.
met. They met as babies and
Yeah. I don't
continued
know.
to.
Anybody got that story.
And
I
they
knew,
moved.
I knew since we were 3 years old, we was riding our tricycles. We was gonna ride out like this forever. It's like, nah, what are we talking about?
Right. That's it's almost sound like the movies. All only in the movies. Only in the movies.
Only in the
That's
movie.
it. It is important, definitely, especially with May being mental health month, mental health
Mm.
awareness month, and that when it comes to grief and depression, that that one is it is that's a topic to be talked about. And when you're talking about end of life preparation, and like I said, it's conversations people do not like to have. It's a conversation that people run away from. They don't want to think about transition, they don't want to think about loss, they don't want to think about any of that. But it does happen every single day, it happens every moment of the day. But and there is a powerlessness there. There is a sense of being out of control, a loss of control when it comes to end of life, whether it's tragic, whether it's a knowing, like it's coming because that individual is sick. um and and then not just with end of life, but when you lose your job, when you lose your pet, when you lose your home, like whether or not you lose it to, a fire, or someone just violates when they break into your home, when you lose your something you've had forever and a day, when you lose that, all of that plays a part in is grief. You grieve after that stuff. Your relationships, you get divorce, you have a breakup, you grieve behind all of that. And you feel it takes you some time to get it all back together. It really does. So what I would say, like, take a deep breath and ask yourself, like, what am I feeling in this moment? That when you feeling grief behind whatever the situation is, whether it's behind the transition of a loved one, the loss of a job, the ending of a relationship, the loss of a car, the loss of a piece of jewelry, a pet, whatever it is that you've lost, you know, take a moment and ask yourself, like, what am I feeling in this moment? And know that whatever it is, it's okay. It's real. And it's a part of your story. It's a part of your story. It's the story that you're writing. Nobody else can write this story for you about how you feel and what you're going through. And keep in mind that you're not alone in this. That's what a lot of people tend to think, that when they're depressed or when they're grieving or when they're going through things, they're alone. You're not alone. So many other people are actually going through this very same thing with you. So, keep in mind, you can reach out for support. Support is important. So many people think, oh, I got this. I'm strong. I got this. I could do this by myself. But grief is hard. It can feel isolating,
Yep.
heavy, unbearable, you know, but you don't have to carry it alone. You don't have to carry it by yourself.
You know what? Not
Hmm.
to interrupt you, cuz, but you know
Oh,
what I realized is that maybe for some people, the reason why doing it alone is because when you first went through your first bout of grief with loss, not of anything, and you reached out to those family members that's supposed to be there for you, those loved ones, and then they didn't actually respond the way that you thought they were going to respond. They weren't as supportive of the way you thought they were supposed to be.
Right.
Now, it enters in the lack of trust. I expressed this level of grief, but now I'm getting like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Man up. Like this whole challenge of like saying good night to your boy. You know what I mean? It's like, it's funny. You know what I mean? It's like, but in reality, it's like you going through something, and some people, they don't understand how to deal with grief. So they're looking at you like, why are you reaching out for a hug, dog? What the frick is wrong with you? You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? Like you up here sniffling and stuff like that because your man just, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna say, for those people from the streets, you know what I mean? If you lost somebody to the streets and you felt a certain kind of way, but you sitting up there trying to, it's dusting my eye, man. It's dusting my eye. You know what I mean? Because you had a different relationship with this dude or girl or whatever. Right. But you trying to hold back tears because you think it's the way it's supposed to be, And it's like, so the mistrust of being able to be open about your emotions leads maybe some people to just not have that level of need or desire to have help, to get help.
Right.
Because you got people out here clowning them because they don't understand the situation, how to handle the situation. They looking at it like, right, nah, you're supposed to be living this way. You're supposed to be doing this way. Like this is what we signed up for, people in the military. I signed up for this. I ain't gonna, it's like, really? Really? Like, this is how you handle this? I don't know. I think about that. Just how some people, the reactions are played upon based on your other reactions. Say you got a lot of uncles in your family, you got a lot of cousins, and they looking at you sideways because you acting some kind of way. You falling out at the wake. Let me go here with you. You know what I mean?
Goodness, right.
I mean, not everybody reacts the way I did. At a wake.
Right.
I cursed everybody out right in the dead of the middle of the curse. I was threatening people.
Threatening people. At their mother's wake.
I didn't care. I was so mad. My nose started bleeding. My nose was bleeding. They had to rush up on us and say, "Come on, your nose." I said, "You talk about my nose." I didn't use the word freak, but right. It's like, you talk about my nose bleeding. I was so mad. It's lucky I wasn't carrying that day because. But anyway, it was but I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just like, what do you do when the people that you're supposed to trust don't accept your level of grieving? And then now. But then
say that question one more time for the people in the back. What are you supposed to do when your support system or your support network,
they don't hold you down?
They don't hold you down because they don't understand grief themselves, or they don't understand the level of grieving that you have for the loss that you're experiencing, whether it's a person, whether it's a pet, whether it's your job, whether it's the loss of an item, you still grieve behind that.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, people try to empathize with you, but they empathize on your own level. And then you sit back. So I was going to use you as an example, but I'll let you just say. I'll let you talk about your situation. But it's just like, it's like the whole thing of empathizing. It's just like, you in a certain situation, but are you thinking about it like, nah, it's too complicated. It's too. That's just another discussion. That's another
You gotta
discussion.
do another time. Okay. So,
It's another discussion. But I really think about like, what
mhm.
about that? So now you got your own support group, right, from your family, right? It's supposed to be the closest one, and
Yeah.
but then you realize that the support that I get from outside my family is better. It's like, yo, it plays with your mind. It's like, why am I not getting this support from them? But these people out here who I just know for like a year, two, three, yo, we just in situationship, and these people,
Situationship. So you know how I explain it. So I used to explain this to Darius when he was alive. I'd explain things to him this way because he was so frustrated with family. And I would always tell him, F family. Okay. And your soul tribe, you have to find your spirit and soul tribe.
yeah, yeah,
Even though you're family by blood, your true family is what you make it. That is your soul tribe. You have to find your soul tribe. That's your true family. The family you are born into, that is your bloodline family. They are not perfect. They are messy as hell. They're screwed up. They have their own whatever they're going through. However, there's just soul tribe out there. And when you connect with your soul tribe, that's your real family. Those are the ones that's going to hold you down no matter what. Those are the individuals that's going to be there for you, give you the skin off of their bodies if they could. Those are the individuals, whatever you go through, they're going to stop, drop. As they say, stop, drop, and roll. It
yeah.
just. Stop,
My mind went there for a second. My mind
say,
went to the club for a quick. But
stop, drop, and roll. That's the those are the ones that will stop, drop, and roll for you. That's Soul Tribe. They're the ones that will put your fire out. Yep, all day.
yeah. And
Your
it's deep
bloodline?
because you
No.
know, for people who know the word, there's a scripture. I don't know where it's at. You know what I mean? I apologize, but
It's
I
all
could look it
good.
up, but I don't feel like it. But it's a scripture that says, as you'll have a brother who will stick, a friend who will stick closer to you than a brother,
Yes.
and that's a deep statement
Hmm.
because so many of us call our friend my bro, my sister.
Yeah.
You saying it for him, my sister friend. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just like, but in reality, these people, if they weren't here for you,
Yes.
where would you be? If they weren't here for you during these tough times,
Ooh.
the like you said, the grief of not just the loss, but like you said, the loss of marriage. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? If it
Hmm.
wasn't for some of my friends' hope, yeah, when I got divorced, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Hmm.
I thank God for them because it's just like sometimes you just need that extra. Where other people like move on, dog. Like, what's wrong with you? Like it's like what you complain about? So yeah, shit
Yeah.
happens. You know what I mean? It's like move on. Like damn, I forget. Like damn, like
Right. So I'm gonna
like
tell you. I'll tell you a story. Memory. So when I divorced, not divorced, separated. Correction. Separated from my Darius and Darian's father. It was it was a weekend, and he had like moved some of his stuff out prior to, and I didn't really wasn't paying attention because in my mind the marriage was over anyway. So I was just really there for Darius and Darian. And the weekend he moved out, I was a little upset because I was caught off guard with him moving out, right?
yeah,
Because like and here's the crazy part, and I don't know why we made this pact. Like we said we would never divorce. We was like we would never divorce. We would never um We would always stay married, regardless of what the situation was. We would never ever divorce. We would just separate or live in, the same household, him in one room, me in another. We would just still be there. But
That
anyway,
Jada Pinkett Will Smith thing.
right. So before them, before them. Okay. So, but we actually, so when he left, he moved out and I was still in the house. I had a older lady. I'm gonna call her Miss Carol. I'm not gonna give her last name. But Miss Carol. I don't even know if she's still alive today. But at that time, I think she was in her 60s, late 60s at that time. And I called her. I was upset. And honey, she said to me, she said, listen, she said, look here, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna give you the weekend. She said, that's all you get. She said, you
Mm.
get is the weekend. You get these 2 days or 3 days, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. She said, a Monday morning, you need to be ready to hit the ground running. And that was profound for me. She said, that's all you get. She said, in these 3 days, you can cry, you can scream, you can yell, you can shout, get angry, do whatever you need to do. Get all your shit out in these 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because Monday you're gonna hit the ground running.
Wow.
And believe me when I tell you, oh my gosh, like her support. Now, and I understand, like, when you're separated or relationship ends, that's different from, someone who's unalived tragically or gradually. Um, I get that. But it was still a grieving process that I had to go through because now I had to consider the fact that this man that I spent 10, 11 years with is now no longer in the house.
Mm.
He's no longer there. Okay. So when it came to, she was my support system. She was my support system. She actually taught me how to like really manage the home. She with him gone, she taught me how to like really how to maneuver as a single mom, officially as a single mom. And that was it. I hit the ground running. That was back in, oh, look, 2005, I think.
Mm.
Yeah. And like I tell people, after that Monday came, I hit the ground running. I hadn't stopped running since.
I feel you. You know what? That brings up another topic is like the avoidance of grief.
Mm-hmm.
We both went through divorces. My grief was not in the fact of losing her.
Mm-hmm.
It was more so not having my sons there. I remember the first night when I moved out.
Mm-hmm.
I moved out and the first night I remember I just bought like a futon at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And I'm laying up there in the futon, my 1 bedroom apartment. My kids were small, my sons were like 3 and 5. And it was crazy because right before I moved out,
Mm-hmm.
we were arguing in front of them. And my 5-year-old, she probably doesn't remember, but he said, stop it, you guys, stop it. First, mommy says something and daddy says, oh my goodness. And then you guys go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, daddy says, oh, cheese and crackers. Like that's what I said. And it was just like, and then he goes, just stop it already. But he was listening. He recited back basically the argument.
Right.
It was at that moment. It was literally, I think it was like 2 days after that, I sent him out, And when I moved out that first night, I think I'm strong, mentally, physically, everything. I didn't even count on the spiritual, but being in that bed by myself,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I was going to get up and not be able to see my sons,
Right.
was a grief that I can't explain. It was like like I got something ripped out of me. And I didn't
Mm,
give birth. I mean, it's just funny because my wife now, like, she laughs at me because I said, oh, that shit was easy. And
mm,
my ex-wife, like, she gave birth to my first son in 5 minutes.
mm.
The second one, I know you said you had like a 16-hour labor. Lay had a 16-hour labor. But my second son, he popped out in literally like 2, 3 minutes. Like, she didn't even sweat. I was like, I could have did that. For 2, 3 minutes. What the fuck you talking about? That look easy. You know what I mean? It looks so damn easy. But then I'm laying there and I witnessed both of them being born. But
Mm,
it literally felt like they had got ripped away and my umbilical cord got ripped apart instead of cut. You
right,
know, no.
right.
And then now the grief that happens now that they're adults is
Mm,
that she had poisoned their minds so much against me that we
mm,
don't have a relationship. And now,
right,
so I enter into another form of grief
right.
because, you know, it's like I used to think like if I beat her down and get her jump, and I had like many a women offer to jump her, and I was like nah, and then now I sit back like maybe I should have let them beat her
No,
ass. You know what I mean? It's like you know what I mean? Like if I knew this second form of grief was going to come about, I would have let them beat her ass.
leather. Oh,
You know what I
good.
mean? And I would have. I say, how would I have felt? I said I would have felt great. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. But
Right,
it's like post haste, right? Like I
right.
should have took the offers, but yeah, I'm just, I'm just saying. It's like because I didn't know what this grief was gonna feel like to have two older sons,
Right,
not have a relationship with my next three children with my new wife.
right.
It's like multiple levels of grief
Hmm.
because Shauna, my oldest daughter, she had a relationship with them.
Right.
They were there when she was born.
Uh-huh.
But now that she's about to graduate next year,
Right.
the chance that they're going to be at the funeral, I mean, excuse me, at the graduation
Right.
is like it's daunting.
Right.
And then the relationship with their uncle is
Hmm.
strained. You know what I mean? It's like that whole like you said, grief comes in so many forms. It's not just about loss of life for people. It's like
Hmm.
the divorce, the separation, the
Yes.
kids, separation with the kids.
Yes.
It's so much
It
more.
is. It is. It is so much more. And here is with my life story. So technically, you may want to say like I lost Jude twice.
Mm.
And the reason I say that is when they were alive, okay, him and Darian, because when my their father and I went through a nasty custody battle. The judge ended up awarding my ex-husband custody of my sons. Now, mind you, I'm not a drug addict. I'm not an alcoholic. I didn't drink. I was an everything mom to my sons, everything. I was the baseball mom, the football mom. I was the den mother for Cub Scouts. I took Taekwondo with my sons. And it just come to find out, Darian wanted to stay with his father because when um, their father moved out, he decided he was going to separate the boys. He was going to take Darius and left Darian with me. And of course, there was a whole bunch of stuff back and forth with that. He's talking about grief, anger, denial, frustration. No, you know what I'm saying? With
Yeah,
that whole separation, and then of course with Darius getting to see the grass is not greener on the other side, living with his father, and then eventually coming back, and then I had custody of the boys at one point, and then like I said, then the judge awarded him because it was a mess. But but that day when the judge awarded custody of Darius and Darian to their father, that you talk about anger and rage that day. So not only did I lose him in while they were, they were about 10 and 9 at the time, or about 11 and 10, somewhere in there. Um, but I went through that. That was the live grief. and anger to have to deal with that and to give up my sons to him, you know, and then watch that whole process, to be the
Okay.
outside parent, watching the process, knowing it wasn't going well at all. Okay. Um, and then later to have Deej come back to me, you know, and we bond and really cultivate the relationship for him to be taken away from me again for real. You know, when I say for real, meaning the fact that he can't come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
He cannot come back to me from where he's at now. Whereas before he could, you know.
Yeah. Reconciliation is another thing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the. I was trying to actually think if I actually had a reconciliation moment. Uh, but yeah, it's like it's a moment of clarity
Mm-hmm.
when there's so many open-ended questions,
Right.
and you reconcile because there's grief of separation,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you reconcile,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So
Right.
let me tell you a story, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the train with my man Lon, right? And
Right.
we're talking. We just came from the studio, music studio, and we by the door on the train,
Mm-hmm.
between the cars.
Right.
Anybody never been in New York? Look at the internet or something like that. I don't know. I'll explain it to you. But yeah. So we over there by the conductor's booth, and he's like, yo, check out this dude, man. He's checking you out, man. What the fuck you talking about? He's like, yo, it's this Muslim dude. I'm like, what? I turn around as soon as
Uh,
he said it, and I'm like, you know what that dude is? So he's looking at me while I'm telling my man. And he
uh,
goes, nah, who's that? I said, that's my pops. He's like,
uh,
your pops? He's like, he grabs me. He grabs me, right? Because
uh,
I confessed. I said, if I ever see him again, I'm taking him out, right? And
uh,
then but small story short, I mean, make it short. Small piece of reconciliation
right.
that I'm good. I'm good. I'm just gonna go over there. So I stand up in front of him. He's sitting down. So anybody who's taking self-defense martial arts, somebody's sitting with he's sitting with his
Mm-hmm.
feet. He's sitting, but he's putting pressure on the balls of his feet. He's
Right.
got his hands on his knees. He's prepared for me to attack him.
Uh,
That's what he is. So, and then now that I'm in this situation with my sons, I see the situation through his eyes of
right.
how he felt in that moment. Like, am I going to have to fight my son in this public space?
Right.
But I went over to him and I just said, Assalamu alaikum.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, wa alaikum assalam. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but he hesitated because with it, peace be upon you. Like,
Right.
are you saying this and then you're going to attack me? Is what he's probably. But then I put my hand out, shake my hand. And I said, hey, this is my friend. I introduced him and stuff like that.
Right.
And then we exchanged numbers. And I said, man, I had my thoughts were in a different place when I originally saw you. But
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm in a different space now as an adult than when I was initially when the last time I saw you, when I was
Right.
a teenager.
Right.
I say, we need to talk. We should talk.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? And he goes, I would like that. I said, great. You have a pen? I'll give you my number. He goes, I still have your house number. I said, no, my pager number.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to talk to me, you can call me, page me, and I'll call you back.
Right.
But then years later, this fool, because I got married to my ex-wife is Okinawan,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
And this is Japanese for you people who aren't worldly. Anyway, I'm just kidding. No, but anyway, but she yeah, so when I took her to the
Right.
martial arts school, and he disowned me when I meant to introduce my ex-wife,
Uh,
to him because
right.
he's like, how do you not marry a sister, so on and so forth? And I'm like, anyway,
Uh,
that put me in such a despair,
right.
grief, that
Yeah.
I just found my father. He didn't find me. And
Right.
now he's disowning, because what happened was I went back to the school to go to 10 class, and they were like, "Yo, your pop said you can't come here." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I got money. He's not paying for. I'm an adult. Now he
Right.
said you can't come through, and I'm looking at this dude like, so I said, okay. So that day I was holding, and
Uh-huh.
it took everything in me. I said, "Where's my father at right now?" I said,
Right.
"Tell me where he's at."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "I want to talk to him. Is he in the school?" And it was like, you have like God moments.
Right.
His car pulled up and parked right in front of the school.
Uh-huh.
Right in front of the school. This was on, I forgot where it wasn't on 100, it wasn't on 125th. It was like on 128th in Harlem
Right.
and in Lenox.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I looked at the cop and I looked at the guy and I'm like, is my father inside? He goes,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Why? And he posted, and I'm like, so I have this thing in my holster and I was gonna force my way in. And I'm like, is it worth it?
Right.
But when your brain is like, you got options and you like,
Yes.
I can get away with this. I know where the back doors are. I'm like, they'll hear the shots. And
Right.
you know what I mean? But it's like just the where grief puts you in a moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you contemplate stupidity. Like literally, like I was literally I was calculating, not contemplating. I was calculating. Like they're in their car with the AC on, drinking and eating.
Right.
This guy standing here, one shot, he'll be out the way, then I can run in. I'm like, I'm thinking, and it was crazy. And then they get out the car.
Right.
And I'm like, and then when I'm looking at them, the dude shuts the door, and I'm like, but the moment, the grief of losing a relationship, possible relationship with my father, who hadn't been in my life, but I gave him an opportunity because of something that would later turn out to be a mistake.
Right.
But and not a mistake in the sense that I had 2 sons with her, but just, you know what I'm saying? It's like all of that. You were saying it earlier in the last part, like you start playing stuff in your head, and what ifs and what this and that and this, and it's just like,
should-haves all the time. And
exactly, and it's
back over and over.
Yeah, it's like you don't like. I wish I was never with that person, but then you're like, then I wouldn't have my sons,
right?
But then I wouldn't have this feeling, but then you're like, I wouldn't have my sons.
Like the complexities, all the wonderful complexities of going through grief, the doubts, the questions, the everything. But and you're right. So like to go back to the original question about what do you do when you're grieving and you do not have the support of a trusted family member or even a trusted friend, because you definitely want somebody who's going to listen to you without judgment and be that non-judgmental listening. You definitely want that in your life, or you want that in that moment. So of course, I always say counseling, therapy, support groups are always good, especially like the grief support groups. A lot of churches have them, these online communities for them, and they can guide you through your storm, that the grief storm or whatever you're feeling at that time. And then sometimes reaching out for support is just simply saying, I'm struggling today. I'm angry today. I'm pissed today. I can't get it together today. It's just that simple. It is just that easy, or asking for help with a small task when the weight feels like it's too heavy for you to
identifying that. Yeah, identifying that emotion. It's like, I think that's a great beginning step, because some people can't even express how they're feeling at that moment. It's like I don't, and then the tears are coming and then and it's ineligible about what they're actually trying to say. You know, what's the word? Intelligible or legible? I forgot what you say when you can't understand a person. But anyway, it's
Audible.
just yeah,
It's inaudible.
totally off. Yeah, but but yeah, but that's what happens. Like it's like sometimes you can't even stop to figure out like what you're actually feeling that day. If you can't even express it,
Right.
like,
Exactly.
but once you get to that level, you can actually express that
Hmm.
point. I had a dude in my life that introduced me to one of my best friends.
Uh-huh.
This dude called me up and was like, "Yo, I need you to talk to somebody." I'm like, how you gonna just call me up and ask me to talk to somebody? You know what I mean? It's just like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know this person, but anyway, we were becoming best friends. Um,
Mm.
and then, but this dude told me something one time. He said that his father, who he's estranged from as well, he
Right.
said that laughter
Uh,
is a good thing when you're going through. I would just say people who are going through grief, if you can take a moment and think of
mm,
a funny movie,
yes.
you know, and just watch that. And if you can make it through that movie and you can laugh, you're on the road to healing. Because
Uh-huh.
so many people, I know people who are like, I don't want to laugh. I don't want to laugh. I don't want to. It's like, you're like, you don't want to laugh. It's like, and you do something funny and silly, and they're
Right.
looking at you like, I'm so mad at you right now because I want to laugh. You ever ask somebody, like, I'm trying not to be, you know, like when they upset because of a breakup or something like that, and they're
Mm,
like, why are you making me laugh? And it's like, trying to get you out of the mindset that you're in emotionally, you know.
right. Right. That part. Right.
It helps. It really, well, it helped me. I don't know about everybody else, but laughter, it heals. For some reason,
It,
there's this healing factor with laughter, and
yeah.
it's it makes light of the situation, so you can sit back and be like, is my situation really that bad? You know,
Yeah.
I am still living
Yeah.
right now, at least. Yeah, yeah. It's like, but yeah,
Yes, and then asking for help or asking for support is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It means like you're honoring your pain and giving yourself permission to heal, and not by yourself, but with the assistance of others to help you get through this. Like grief has a way of connecting people, and it has a way of like connecting connecting you with others, like when it feels like it's just pulling everybody apart.
mm,
And sometimes it will do that. It will do that too. It will pull people apart. And like if you're feeling, I'm gonna say, like if you're feeling overwhelmed or alone at this moment that you are viewing this, like know this, like you can reach out for support. And when you do, you take a powerful step forward in hope. You take a powerful step forward in your healing. And you can give your nervous system some moments of safety in a
mm,
small, right? Because
yeah,
you're on edge and you're nervous. Just think about that. And like when you're grieving, it feels like you're living inside of a storm, or it's a whirlwind of emotions, memories, uncertainty. You don't know if you're coming or going. You don't know you up, down, left or right. Um, it keeps you on edge. Your nervous system can make you feel like you're on edge. It's You're constantly like bracing for danger. It's you're in a hyper alertness all the time. It's a sense of being like you're unsure, you're unsafe, and that's your body. That's the body's natural way of responding. Like they say, fight or flight,
yeah. Defense mechanism. Yeah.
right? And give yourself some time. Give yourself some time. Always give yourself time to heal and embrace, ask for help. Take a deep breath. Again, acknowledge your pain, or whatever you're feeling, not just the pain. Acknowledge whatever emotions, whatever feelings that you're having. Acknowledge it at that moment. Go talk to yourself in the mirror. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I think you said the grief sometimes it will give you a sense of community, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but I've noticed like in the sense of community, some people take that level to say I can stay here because I found a level of community, level of support that maybe they never had before. So then they choose to stay
Mm-hmm.
in that level of grief because they found that comfort, they found that support that they've never had before in other
Right.
parts of their life. And they feel that if I can't, like, I don't want to lose this support
Mm-hmm.
once I come out of this grief. That's the
Right.
danger. That's a danger, I should say. More
Mm-hmm.
so, just be aware that don't get so consumed by this level of support that you choose to stay in this level of grief or look for other levels of grief so that
Mm-hmm.
you can get the support back. You
Right.
seek out grief in a sense.
Right. Right.
The whole point is healing. That's why
Mm-hmm.
we're here talking, is so you can heal. I share my funny stories to hopefully help somebody heal because maybe somebody went through the same thing I did. But
Right.
it's the level of healing that you have to commit to, that you
Mm-hmm.
are going to heal so you can move forward. It's not moving on, it's moving forward. We should be able to say to ourselves that I overcame that.
Right.
I overcame this, I overcame that. I mean, that's the goal.
Right.
That's the I was
That's
going to
it.
say, as parents, we
Right.
want our children to be self-sufficient so that they can get over, get
Mm-hmm.
over situations in their life and accomplish and move on, move over, go on. It's
Right.
just, yeah.
It
Anyway,
is. So I would say that, in the being kind, you always hear me say about being kind and being gentle to yourself. And if you have no idea what that looks like, that's taking a moment to take some deep breaths. Inhale deep, hold for about 3 to 5 seconds, and then exhale. You know,
now I
right?
was laughing at you because you said deep breaths.
Deep, deep breath, deep breath, breath,
Yeah,
breath. Okay.
don't mind me.
Take deep breaths. Okay. Um, throw a blanket in the dryer. If you have a dryer in your home, wrap up in a warm blanket, or if you have one of them warm fuzzy blankets, I call them, wrap up in that on the couch. You know,
It's a
um,
female thing.
yeah.
No, I'm just sorry.
What you telling me? Y'all need a cooling blanket. You know what I'm saying? And a pillow. Get your Bobby. That's
Yeah.
and sit quietly, drink some tea. If you prefer alcohol, get a glass of wine. Listen to some gentle music, some nature sounds. Sit outside if the weather is really, really nice, and you can listen to some birds, listen to some nature, and then either go for a walk outside. And if you're a place where like the grass is clean, then walk around barefooted so you can, feel the grass beneath your feet
Reconnect.
and connect. Exactly. So
Go to the beach. Releasing into the ocean.
yes, that too. So, but with that, I'm going to say, any last words, Cousin Kareem?
Try to find some time to laugh. Yeah, that's
Mm,
it. Try to find some time to laugh, to
yeah.
smile. Be thankful. Be thankful for the things that you do have, for the life that you do live, that you're living. You're still living. You
Mm,
might have lost, but you are still living.
yes.
Continue on, my friends. Continue on. And you're
Yeah.
realizing that overcoming is such a great thing. It's going to be a big thing. So, yeah,
Yeah.
just continue on. Laugh. Laugh a little. You'll
Mhm.
realize that you can laugh. And you can continue moving on.
That's it all day. So, thank you for joining us today on this journey Through grief, healing, and remembrance, grief is not something we simply get over. It is not something to be fixed. It's something we learn to carry, something that shapes us, and something that teaches us about love and resilience. As you move through your own processes, remember to be patient with yourself. There's no timeline, there's no right or wrong way to grieve. Honor your feelings, embrace the memories, and allow yourself space to heal in your own time. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to reach out and share your story or let us know how grief has shaped your journey. And if you know someone who might need this conversation, please share this episode with them. If this episode resonated with you, please consider leaving a review, sharing it with someone who might need it. You can reach us on Instagram on SBSH Grief, on Facebook, sometimes we're bougie, sometimes we're hood, on TikTok, sometimes we're bougie, sometimes we're hood. Or you can reach out to Queen of Life Empowerment on Instagram. And remember, love doesn't mean carrying the impossible. It means showing up imperfectly again and again. Until next time, be kind to yourself, hold space for your emotions, and remember, you are never, ever alone in this journey. Grief is love with nowhere to go, and you deserve all the care in this world. So take care.
Take care, guys. Enjoy.
It's a podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembrance.